What's up, gorgeous? I'm so glad you're here. Welcome to the Fierce Framework podcast, where we talk about becoming fierce through messy action, baby steps, and cultivating confidence. I'm your host, Mary Beth. I'm a business coach with a passion to see women breaking out of the mold society tells us we're supposed to fit into and to start living life more on our own terms. I believe the world benefits when women are living lives that we're lit up about and we're pursuing a purpose that makes us feel fulfilled. My goal with this podcast is to share inspiration, stories of other entrepreneurs just like you, and practical tools and tips to help you become fierce in your business. If that sounds good to you, you're going to love this episode. Let's get down to it. What's up, gorgeous? Today's episode is an interview with my friend Lisa. I'm so excited to introduce you to her. We chatted up a storm, so it is a two-parter. We'll have our first episode and then our second episode 1 week apart. And I am just so excited for you to meet her. Lisa's story, embodies so many of the things that I love talking about on this podcast. Taking messy action and just having the courage to take the leap and go for what you want in this life. So I feel like her journey in the past year or so is such a powerful example of how to break out of that mold that society tells us we're supposed to fit into and start living life for yourself and more on your own terms. And as if you've been listening to the podcast, that's what I'm all about. And Lisa is just such a powerful example of so many of those concepts that I think are so important and that I love to talk about on the show. So I can't wait to introduce you to her. I think you're going to love her. So let's jump into it. Welcome to the Fierce Framework podcast. I am so excited to introduce you to my friend Lisa. She convinced me to do my first in-person podcast episode. I am super excited.
Me too.
Lisa, tell us about yourself. If someone just started to know you, what should they know about you?
That's a great question.
Just started to know you as a stupid.
They just started.
Just met you.
They just
words are hard.
They just started to get to know me. They would probably be like, "What are you doing with your life?" Really, because the season of life that I'm in is really interesting.
That's why we're here.
She's not wrong. But it's funny because I'm living very intuitively right now. And part of that intuition was me being like, Mary Beth, I think I need to be on your podcast. And it was definitely, I was like, I don't know what I'm going to talk about on your podcast.
I was like, you're going to talk about your super interesting journey that you're on right now.
Mary Beth still doesn't know what I'm going to talk about on her podcast, even in this moment.
We're both living
it's all a surprise to her. Mary Beth and I have been friends for a very long time. This girl's my bitch. I love her so much. We've known each other well over 10 years. I just got a 10-year benchmark, but it's past that. Past that.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about being.
I love it.
Is where I landed when I was thinking about all of the things that I wanted to talk about. I was like, man, there's so many things. And I even went on your podcast thing to look at all the stuff. And I was like, wow, I could talk about all of these things. And I immediately was hit with this okay, yeah, well, she already has all this content.
What do you mean?
It was stuff that you've already put out, right?
Yeah.
And it was oh, okay, well, I could speak to that. And immediately it was this comparison of oh, she already has it. And discounted myself, right? Ew. Isn't that gross? That was my immediate reaction.
From my stuff?
Yeah.
I'm trying not to myself.
But I hate that was my first reaction was you already had
you
content.
Noticed.
I did.
And you caught yourself.
But it was it was also it ties into all of this, so
I can feel it.
We'll circle around. But before we jump all in, you didn't know I was going to do this, and you're going to hate it, so just bear with me.
I can edit it out.
Yeah. Please don't. I just want to take a moment of gratitude publicly for you and for this space, just for this opportunity. It's going to be like awkward, and that's okay. But I'm just going to sit in it because that's what a lot of what I've been doing and practicing in my being is gratitude. And so I want to practice that here on the podcast. And so it's going to be weird and you're probably going to be uncomfortable, but that's
that
okay.
wasn't it?
No, we're going to sit in it for like 5 seconds.
Oh, love. Okay.
Yeah. So you might hate it, you might love it, but I'm just going to sit here in gratitude for Mary Beth, for this podcast, for this opportunity, and just say, hey, whatever comes out of my mouth, I hope that it's the right thing, that people hear it. If they're not, it speaks to someone maybe, I don't know. If not, that's okay. I'm living my life over here and it's great. But yeah, just like, it's a good day. It's been a good day already. So yeah, I'm gonna sit in that. Yeah. So thanks. Okay. Me and Devin. That's all.
I love
just
it.
A little
Why you thought I would hate that?
I don't know, because I think when you like get
tells
recognized
me more about myself than
no, I think when you get like recognized for things, you get uncomfortable. So I think me just like
I thought you meant the gratitude.
No.
I was like, wow. She's like, you're gonna hate sitting in a moment of gratitude.
No.
I know this one.
Like me, like publicly being like, thank you, Mary Beth. Like that's the part that you're gonna hate, not the like, oh, let's sit in gratitude. I didn't think you'd hate that part.
Thank you. Okay.
Can you tell we know each other?
So one of the things that is really cool about this situation is when I first started the podcast, the reason I started a podcast is because I love having wine with friends. And I've had so many good conversations over wine with friends. And I was like, we should be recording these conversations and have a podcast. And so my podcast actually started out as Wine Wednesday with that intention. And then to make it easy, because that's what I'm all about, I just started recording episodes by myself to get the ball rolling and to get used to things. And then it turned into the F.I.E.R.C.E Framework podcast, which it is now.
Which is amazing.
Thank you, yes. And then I pivoted into interviewing more like entrepreneurs. But I love that
I am not an entrepreneur. I'm just her friend.
Yes. Which I love that it has come full circle to Wine Wednesdays, conversations with
Except
friends.
it's Thursday, but that's okay.
It is Thursday, but this will come out on a Wednesday. So.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, so it's like, it's funny. Yeah, your initial birth idea is now happening.
Which is crazy.
It's amazing, is what it is. But yeah, to fully understand my thought and idea of being, we gotta backtrack into my story.
Okay. Tell us about your story.
Yeah, it was a crazy story of really, I would say probably like the last year and a half is probably roughly where it started. For me, maybe not fully started, but like this journey, kind of where I've landed to where I am. But I quit my job in October, which I would not necessarily recommend in this economy. Some of you are probably like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
What?
Privilege.
Yeah, I mean, even then, you're kind of like, what? You're doing what? Everyone's like, oh, you're leaving without another job? And I'm like, yeah, I am. Okay. It's part of like leaning into this, like living intuitively. But that was definitely like built up to that point. But that was 5 months ago that I did that.
Yeah.
But it led back to last year. Oh gosh, 2025 now. So the year before that, 2023. I have to like recalibrate your brain.
So
like last year, the year before,
so, yeah.
Right? 2023. I just reached a point in my life where I was really tired of feeling the way that I felt. Like I'm super depressed. I've dealt with depression for many, many years. Was tired of feeling the way that I did about my life.
Yeah. Can you talk more about that? Because I feel like that's really relatable, and I think that like that's part of what I feel is so powerful about your story, is like where you came from. Because I think a lot of us have been there or are there.
Yeah.
Do you feel comfortable going into more detail?
Yeah, I don't know if like all of the details around that, like I want to delve into here, but like, yeah,
like you were feeling stuck or unhappy or like,
yeah, I definitely was like frustrated. Like, I was in this job that I did not like.
Relatable.
That is for sure relatable to a lot of people, which is funny because in January, I do this thing. It's like an online thing where you can like write letters to yourself in the future.
Ooh.
And I got my very first one back to myself.
Oh, it sends back to you.
Yeah, so that's what you do. Is like you write yourself a letter to yourself in the future, and you can like pick a random date, or you can say like, oh, I want to get this letter like in a year from now, or 3 years from now, or 5 years from now, or you can just pick some random date or like on your birthday. And January this year, I got my very first letter from myself, my past self. Okay. And it was from 3 months into this job that I had just quit. And it was like the first part of the letter was like, hey, like it was 3 months in the job, and it was like, hey, you like just finished your first event, and like it was a rough job. Like I had to do events and like travel for this job, and like I hated it. I knew pretty much immediately like this was not a good fit for me. But like I was stuck in this like, oh my God, I need a job. Like we're all in that situation, right? Of like, I need to meet my needs. Like I have to make it work, right? I just gotta like struggle and like figure it out. And so 3 months in this job, I write this letter to myself, my future self, which came to me a month ago. It was like, hey, I can like that's the tone like for it me. Literally that's the tone I was writing it in.
Like, I hate it here.
Basically, and it was like sorry. So I should pull it up on my phone and read it to you. But like, it was like, hey, like you like just finished your first event. It did not go well. Like, are you still working there? Like, because I knew 3 months in, I didn't want to be there. And it took me 3 years to leave.
Oh, Lord. I thought you said you got the letter like a year later. Okay.
No.
3 years later.
So I got it just last month, and I quit in October.
Wow.
So that was 3 years. Yeah. But I knew 3 months in, like I didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
And I could tell because I read myself. I was like, are you still there? Like, yeah. But it's really funny though, because like at that point I already quit. And so it was like, I had to kind of like laugh to myself because it was like, well, I did it. Like I finally left. Like, look at me here. I'm reading this letter and I'm not working there anymore. Like, I'm so proud of myself for finally leaving. I did it way later than I should have, but I did it. Like, hey. So it's kind of cool, like to be able to write letters to yourself and then like kind of see how far you've come like in that. But like there were other things in the letter too, like even like to benchmark like that point in my life, like there are things I was writing to myself of like at that time in my life of just being like, your reasons for staying are this. And it was like, yeah, like it was hard. It was a hard time in my life. Like I was like, I didn't have a lot that I was like looking forward to. And I really had to like grasp at like the tiniest things. Like it was rough. But I was like, yeah, so it was a really hard time in my life. And I was tired of feeling that way. Circling back to where we were. Yeah. And so finally it was like the end of 2023. Things were really rough at work. And I left to go visit my sister. In Japan. Yeah, she lives in Japan. And it was just like, I was really tired of like seeing people live lives that I was really jealous of. And I was like, why is it that everyone has things like work out for them? Why is it that people just seem to have all the things that they want and I don't, you know? And it was kind of like born out of this like jealousy almost. Yeah. But it was like, okay, well, I'm really tired of feeling this way. Yeah. And so I decided at the beginning of 2024 that I was going to make that year the year of just me And I was like, I'm just going to invest in myself, because I knew that I was like a really, really good friend to other people. And so I decided that I was just going to be a really good friend to myself. And it was like, okay, I'm going to start like deciding, because like, you know, you're like, okay, well, I would never say those things about like myself, or I would never say those things about my friends.
Yeah, like
but
the mean things you say to
but
yourself.
it's like, but I say it about myself.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, I'm gonna choose not to say this kind of stuff about myself anymore. Or it's like, I'm giving myself permission to change my mind about stuff that I was taught my whole life to think about myself. And it was so hard. Like, I'm not saying like, oh wow, this was just an easy, like, great, changed my mind.
Just because you make it look easy.
Right. You know, but it's like, it was like the beginning of this complete transformation within myself. And like Mary Beth can attest to this, because she knows me and like has known me she knew me when I was very, very depressed and like had gone through a lot, and like she knows me now and like has probably seen this night and day difference in me.
It's beautiful.
Thank you. You're beautiful. Thank you. But yeah, basically it was like, I decided that I was going to finally invest in myself, and I had never done that before. It was a hard journey. Yeah. Like, it's not an easy thing to decide to do. But I mean, it's a lot of the content that you have out on your podcast, you know, about like building confidence and about speaking these things over yourself. And about like choosing that. It is a choice that you have to make, but you have the power to create any type of reality that you would like. You do. You can make a positive reality, you can make a negative reality for yourself. Yeah. But it's like, you also like, you have the power to do that. And yeah, I think the power for me was that I allowed myself to change my mind. And that was where it was like, okay, I don't have to change my mind right now, but I'm giving myself permission to change my mind. I'm opening the possibility that I can think differently about myself than I have my entire life. That you can think differently about yourself if you want to. And I think that that's what the thing is that like in our culture, it's like, we get so stuck in, you have to do this or you have to do that, or once you do something, you're stuck in it. Yeah. And it's like, I'm allowed to change my mind about anything at any time.
I love it. Yeah. Boys do
it. Don't they? Right. But it's like, okay, it's like, well, I used to do that and now I don't anymore. Okay. Great.
I think that's so powerful, because I know like that's a trap that I got stuck into for a long time, of feeling like that was part of why I felt like I had to have everything figured out before I started doing anything, because I felt like I would have to stick with it and not be allowed to switch it up.
Right.
And so I think that that's so powerful, of accepting that, because nothing gets better if nothing changes.
Right.
So you have to be willing to change and let things go. But also like, it lowers the barrier of entry to trying new things when you allow yourself to try something and not be stuck with it forever.
Right. That's the thing too. It's like, you can always backtrack or try something different.
Yeah.
Or you can always go back to doing the way things were. Like, I could always go back to hating myself. It was always an option.
No, you can't.
but
yes, I know.
It was like, when I was giving myself permission. Yeah. Right. It's like, okay, I can try loving myself.
If I hate loving myself, I can always go back.
Correct.
Get out of
and so for me, it was like, what do I have to lose?
Yeah.
I know how to hate myself. I can try loving myself.
That's so good, dude. Yeah.
And so for me, it was like breaking it down into terms like that, because like I had tried to do so many things in therapy before, and it's just like, it never stuck ever. Okay. And it was like, but sometimes it's like, you're not ready until you're ready.
Right.
And so it's like, I never knew why it didn't work before. I tried the things and I'm like, all right, well, I've done that and it didn't happen. Yeah. So sometimes you're just not ready until you're ready. And it's like, okay, now is my time to be ready, I guess. And that's fine too, but it doesn't mean like you don't try. Like I was trying before also.
Right.
You know, but yeah, I mean, it's so good like to do that. But yeah, so that was like the first part of the year, was making that choice to say like I'm worth it. Like I want my life to look different and be different. So I'm going to choose these things like actively for myself and then take steps for it. And then it was like, once things started to change, because they did.
As they do.
Because let me tell you, love is the most powerful force on the planet. And when you start pouring that into yourself, where there has not been love poured into yourself before, especially internally, like from yourself, because like, yeah, I have friends who are like, oh my gosh, yeah, like you're amazing. But like, if you aren't believing it yourself and you're like creating this like wall and this barrier around your heart that's impenetrable.
It's like holding your hand over the cup when somebody's trying to pour into it.
Yeah. And everyone's like, oh my God. And you're like,
no.
Yeah. But if you start filling that up from the inside, I mean, it starts changing things, right? And it's like, so like I started working through all of this stuff that I had not dealt with for many years.
Can I ask you a question?
Maybe. It depends on what the question is.
I didn't want to get too far because I love what you said about jealousy, and I think that that's super powerful, so I wanted to highlight that.
What did I say about jealousy?
So it's so common for us to like be put into these roles of things that we're supposed to be doing and what we're supposed to want and what we're supposed to be working towards, that I think it's so easy for us to get out of touch with what we actually want. And I love how you mentioned you were looking at other people's lives and seeing them do things that were filling them up and things that like things were working out for them and they were living lives that lit them up basically, and you were jealous of that. And I think that that's so powerful because I've talked to so many people who don't know what they want anymore because it's been so long since they were allowed to want. And I love that you said that, because I think jealousy is actually such a good tool to help us identify what we want. And then I love when you said like you started taking care of yourself when it was your year of you. And I would love if you dig a little bit more into like what that looks like. Like for somebody who's like struggling to even know where to start.
Yeah. So I was already in therapy and had been in therapy. So
Therapy.
Big advocate.
Shoutout therapy.
I've been in therapy for years. But I was more intentional about the way that I did therapy and really digging into the things and like really feeling my feels. Because I mean, that's a huge thing. I mean, that was part of the big process of my healing, was actually feeling my feelings.
Wow.
But allowing yourself to process hurt, because once you start healing things inside of you, like it becomes a little bit addicting. Like, because once you get that freedom from that stuff, you're like, okay, well, I'm a little bit more liberated now. And you're like, wow, I have space to like move a little bit and I have a little more breathing room that I didn't have before.
You develop an appetite for it.
You do. You're like, okay, how can I get a little bit more room? Like, this is actually really nice. Okay, like I want to heal a little bit more inside of myself so that I can have a little bit more room to move around and like get a little bit more space.
No, that's so good. Because you don't know until you start.
Correct. And you don't know until you've experienced it. And you don't know until you are free and you are healed. And it's not something that someone else can give you because you have to do it yourself. And
that's so good.
Right.
Because other people can tell you how good it is.
You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink.
Is that why that's a
It's something that only you can do for yourself. It's not anything that anyone else can do for yourself, for you. And you're not ready until you're ready. But yeah, but for me, investing in myself was just like, I also was someone who I didn't know how to dream anymore. Like I had lost, and I didn't know how, I didn't have hope. I didn't have any, like, I was like, I don't have hope for the future. Like I wanted to die all the time. And so it was like, why have hope for anything? Like, why have any dreams for anything? If I don't have any hope for for anything, like what am I, what? And so one of my things was just to start thinking about stuff that maybe could happen. So that was one small thing. I started just doing stuff that I liked for me. And so if it just made me feel good, I did it. Didn't matter about anyone else, just me. And so I did this already kind of by myself just because I'm a little bit of a loner sometimes, but like I would go and do stuff by myself. Like I would go to dinner by myself or go to a movie by myself, go to a concert by myself. I'm like, I'm not going to stop the fact that I'm alone or no one else wants to go or do something with me, keep me from doing something that I want to do.
And I love that because it's like, it can be a movie, it can be dinner. It doesn't have to be a solo backpacking across Europe. Like it can be, but you can also build up to that.
Right.
And so I love that you're sharing like such practical.
Right. It was also, I threw a birthday party for myself.
Yeah, you did. That party was
which I hated celebrating myself. So every year before then, never wanted to celebrate my birthday. Friends would want to go out and I never wanted to do anything because I hated being celebrated. And so part of like leading up, my birthday's in the summer. And so part of leading up to the summer was me even like thinking and planning of like what I wanted to do for my birthday party, which is part of the reason why it was like pretty big. And like, I literally went all out.
It was amazing.
Because I was like, I've never done this and I've never wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And so it was really fun to even like get in the mindset of like, I want to be celebrated now. Yes. And people want to celebrate.
Yes, me. We do. Give us the opportunity to celebrate it.
But it's like, even to like wrap my mind around it, because I had like told myself a different story so much in my head, like so much. This podcast is going a way different way than being here, but like it's okay.
I just know like you have so much like good because you've been there.
I have been there. It will land there again. We'll land
make sure it does.
We'll land the plane.
We always do, right?
But yeah, so I did a bunch of stuff for me because it was the year of me, and so I just started like,
as every year should be.
I started doing things for myself, and like, so I dug into how is this going to enrich my life? Like, I'm not gonna worry about like anyone else. I'm gonna really invest in myself. Like, so through eating better, through exercise, through therapy, through just doing things that are making me happy. Big, small, whatever. If it's just a tiny thing, great. If it's a big thing, great. So that's how I kind of invested in myself. But and then it kind of culminated into, I knew that I needed to leave my job because it had been 3 years of me working there and I hated it the whole time that I worked there. But also it was like kind of internally there was this struggle. And I was learning to listen to my intuition again, like through this process of through investing in myself, like, and for many, many years, like ignoring my intuition because I was taught to almost.
That's generous.
I mean, I think through a lot of different ways. It's like through religion, through culture. It's like, it's a way of control for people to say like, oh yeah, you shouldn't listen to that. Like, and it's like, I was almost like learning how to listen to my intuition again. I'm like, no, like, I can listen to that. Like, it's not a bad thing. But it was like, I felt a very strong pull that like, I needed to do this. And I had always stopped myself before because I didn't have a backup plan and I was always scared. of like, okay, if I quit and I don't have a backup plan, like what's going to happen?
Yeah.
But I knew that like me leaving was going to be the best thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
And it being the year of me, I'm going to invest in myself and I'm going to trust that it's going to be the right thing. And so I did it.
I love it.
And it was the most liberating thing. And like the timing of it was just like perfect. Like it all worked out. And it's working out, right? It's going to be fine. All of my needs are met. Amen. Currently, they're all met. And I don't have another job right now. And that's fine. I don't need another job right now. So the universe is taking care of me.
I love this. I love this because your tone changed and you can hear yourself like encouraging yourself. You're like speaking it into existence type thing. Because you were like, yeah, quit my job, boom, and then you're like, and I'm fine. Everything's fine. It's going to be fine. So I just love that, like, it's such a picture of how it's still a journey.
Yeah.
Like, you took this huge leap. You obviously trust yourself. You're putting yourself first. You quit this toxic job. You're living your life.
Yeah.
It's not always 100% fully feeling happy and like
no.
There are moments of doubts, there are moments of tough times. And I feel like your tone change kind of alluded to that. And I was like, this is perfect. Because you're talking yourself through it. And you're like encouraging yourself and building yourself back up. And I love that. Because like you're gonna have moments of doubt and you're gonna have those times where you're like, maybe this wasn't a good idea. What am I gonna do?
Yeah, only all the time.
And you talk yourself through it. I love it.
Only all the time. Do I have to remind myself that today every single one of my needs are met? Yes. So I don't have to worry about this right now.
Amazing, right? I love Lisa so much. I re-listening to that episode to edit it, I just felt like it was so powerful, and she shares so many gems, and I just love like how she's living out this story of moving from a place that you don't want to be at anymore and walking into a new season and a new place in your life and becoming a new person, kind of like taking off those layers and revealing like who you are. And so I hope her story encourages you and empowers you to take those next steps to get where you're trying to go in life. Because as you can see, like with her hearing about her journey and her transformation, like it is just so powerful to be willing to make that change and to take those steps to get where you want to go instead of staying stuck at where you've been. So this is a two-parter series. If you missed the other episode, make sure to check it out because Lisa's got so many amazing gems that she shared. And until next time, keep becoming fierce.